Hi, I'm Val the Realtor. Welcome back to my channel. This week, I'm going to be talking about what it's like to be a realtor. I'm going to answer your top 5 questions that I get all the time from clients and friends alike. If you're interested in everything real estate just like I am, please hit the subscribe and like buttons. Comment, share with your friends. I'm always looking forward to your input in future upcoming videos. The first question I often get is, how do you become a realtor? Well, there's how I became a realtor, and then there's how you literally become a realtor. So if you want to literally look at how to become a realtor and be licensed to sell real estate in the province of Alberta or where you are. In Alberta, you go to cred.com, and then there's a little tab there that says join the industry, and then it'll go down and tell you the steps that you have to do. When I joined, I was thinking about being a realtor, and it was a super easy decision for me because my dad had been a realtor, and I had stood on the land in many places and been through all that whole experience, and I knew what it was like to live a self-employed life. For me, it was super easy, but at the time, not a lot of people understood what being a realtor was all about. So you had to take this, I think it was 2 or 3 hours, sort of a lecture that CREB held. CREB is the Calgary Real Estate Board, and I think you paid like $100, and they basically gave you the Coles Notes version on what to expect as a realtor, because they were having a lot of people getting licensed that didn't realize, oh, the brokerage isn't going to pay me, I work on commission, and some of that kind of naivety. So you did that. Once you passed that course, because then there was this little mini test to make sure you understood and accepted the terms of becoming a licensed realtor, then you were able to apply to go into your licensing course. Now, of course, that's evolved. It used to be we had to go to the board, and you had choices of doing it immersively, like every day for 3 weeks a month, or doing it 1 or 2 days a week over 3-4 months, and then you write an exam. So there was different options, but you had to do it in person. Over time, it has morphed where you could do it through some of the post-secondary institutions here in Calgary, as I know it's the same across Canada. And then of course it's evolved even more with COVID, that you could do courses online. And then of course there's ongoing educational requirements as a realtor. So you have to be able to once in a while crack a book and do a multiple choice test to maintain your real estate license. I will just put that out there. But other than that, yeah, you learn as you go. Question number 2, what is it like to be a realtor? Well, I gotta tell you, it's not all expensive cars and $1 million real estate. That's not at all how it is. Even if you specialize in that, it's not all that it's cracked up to be. First of all, you have to be pretty much a high energy person. That doesn't mean you have to be an extrovert. You can be an introvert. It doesn't mean that you have to be on the ground running all the time. You can be behind the computer a lot, but you can't be lazy. You have to create something from nothing. You're providing a service. So you have to find your leads, you have to find your listings, you have to build your business, you have to be self-sustaining. It's a very multifaceted line of work that doesn't happen 9 to 5 behind a desk. So what it's like to be a realtor, yeah, you work all hours, or the hours that you set. I work 6 days a week. Sometimes I work evenings, sometimes I cut out in the middle of the day and I might go get in a workout or walk my dog. But that means it's because I probably have an appointment at 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening. So there's that aspect. You're also working pretty much all year long. So in Calgary, we're pretty fortunate. December is a little bit of a slow month, and July, of course, as soon as the kids get out of school and Stampede comes, there's almost guaranteed 2 weeks. My phone's probably not going to ring. Everybody's at Stampede. So you kind of build your holidays in and around that. The other thing most people don't realize about what it's like to be a realtor is because they think they're in this competition against all the other realtors. But there's also this unique side of being a real estate agent, that you're in a cooperative relationship with them as well. So we need each other as much as we're competing against each other. So it's a very fine balance, and you have to have good interpersonal skills. You have to be able to build solid business relationships, because once you deal with one realtor, there's a chance you're going to have to deal with that realtor again. If you're going to go away, chances are there's a realtor in your office that you want to feel comfortable and trusting enough to leave them with your business while you're away. So being a realtor is you have to be a very specific kind of personality, work ethic, very disciplined, but at the same time, you have to be the opposite. You have to be very fluid and flexible and willing to go with the flow, because you never know what's going to get thrown at you from day to day. I can tell you, yesterday I was in one listing getting it photographed and measured, and I had a client from another listing call, super angry. It is not a happy situation of why they're selling, and I won't get into it, but she just started to yell at me, and I had to be smiling and calm with the one client that was in front of me, and somehow accommodating and understanding and empathetic with the caller on the phone, and try and balance it all in front of my vendors that were probably thinking, what the heck's going on here? So you just have to be that kind of person that can just balance a whole lot of things in the air at once, sometimes at the same time, but sometimes over the course of a week or a weekend. And if you do, boy, you have some great stories, you have some great fun, and you meet a ton of great people. The next question that I get a lot is how to build your real estate business. This gets into the actual job description of what kind of realtor you want to be and what kind of business you want to foster. So your niche, if you will. So for example, if you want to specialize in condominiums, you might want to get your condominium specialist course. You might want to know a lot of, have a lot of networking with people that do condominium documents reviews. There's all kinds of information on that you can have. And then you want to build your branding around all of that. You get other realtors that specialize in a neighborhood, so they have the old school word was farming, if you want to farm a community, and so then they get the park benches, they do the postcards. So you can plow a ton of money into marketing. Then you get some people that specialize in country residential, which can include your acreages, which are sort of your more rancher trophy type homes, or rural, which may include your farms. And then if you're not into residential, there's also commercial. Lots of people make a great living and love doing commercial. I think you have to have more of a mathematical mind, not gonna lie. You got to be able to do some of those math formulas and calculate it all out for commercial. But however you decide to focus your business plan, it's a good idea to do it as a business plan. Take it seriously as a business. You can't just wake up one morning and decide you're going to go online, maybe send some emails, talk to your sphere of influence. That is a great start, but that's not going to build your business alone. For me personally, I decided to build a boutique one-person operation. I wanted to deal one-on-one with my clients because real estate, while it's about property, it's definitely about the people. People come first, and that's what I wanted to do. It was a lot of my background in working with other realtors across Canada as a military wife, is that I had to have someone that I connected with and who understood my needs from a real estate perspective as well as my family's perspective. So when I ventured out, I wanted to be able to provide what I thought was lacking in that service from a relocation perspective, but also in giving personal customized service to what my clients needed, whether they were a seller or a buyer. Another big thing is I believe in open houses. I've done videos on open houses. I have open houses on all my listings because I really believe real estate is about people again and getting as many people through, and I think that's a big part of marketing. There's a lot of realtors who don't do open houses. They don't believe in open houses. That's not part of their marketing. They would rather plow money into advertising. So when you're building your business, you have to look at your financial resources and goals, decide how much you want to put in your marketing budget, make sure you substantiate that over the calendar year, fiscal year, however you're planning. I tend to look at things in quarters because of especially the way the Calgary real estate market is. It's very easy to break our market up into the quarters of the year and have your budget accordingly. I have strong beliefs that you're better off advertising your listings and getting them sold than to advertise the realtor themselves, because I think selling the listings speaks volumes for that particular realtor. And the quality of service that you provide will generate the referrals to build your business over the years to come. Another question I get, what are the cons of being a realtor? Well, this is where we go dark, a little dark. You deal with divorce, you deal with debt. Lots of people have lots of debt, and it's really, really sad sometimes to sit on the other side of the table and tell somebody that what they want for the house and what they need to get for the house to be able to get out from under their debt is not necessarily what the house is worth. So sometimes we have a lot of bad news to break. Another downside, of course, is the income is very unsteady. It takes a long time to have a steady flow of monthly income. So if you're starting out especially, be prepared to have some pretty broke months be prepared to live off a line of credit or a credit card. It's like any other business. You have to build up some capital until you get flowing. Real estate is also very subject to any kind of national or international event. 9/11 happened, nobody was looking at houses. Interest rates go up, everybody panics, and real estate kind of sometimes stands still, or if it's the opposite, it gets into a feeding frenzy where you don't get to have any time off because you're constantly selling and showing houses because the rates are very lucrative. COVID happened. I think I had at least 30 days where my listings didn't get any showings. I had no phone calls. I had people calling saying, or is this the end of the world? What's going to happen with the value of my real estate? But it's all cyclical. So what goes up comes down, what goes down goes back up. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm constantly telling people I don't have a crystal ball. I wish I had one because boy, I think I'd be retired on a beach right now, but I don't have a crystal ball. So there's a lot of income variability. There's sometimes some family sacrifice. There's been times where I've been out to dinner and my phone buzzes and the offer comes in and it's only open for 4 hours. And I finally was getting a date night with my husband and I had to say, I just need 5 minutes to deal with this, whether it's to extend the time that I have to respond to the offer, or at least tell my seller and try and get a hold of my seller that there's an offer in so that then I can at least finish my dinner. So there's lots of sacrifices that you make, but I think anything worth doing is worth sacrificing for, and real estate is definitely worth that. There's many times I have to wear my therapist hat. I'm sometimes the mediator between the husband and wife to try and get them on the same page, and that's not a task that I think a lot of realtors are good at. So sometimes you have to put on your psychologist cap. There's a lot of times where you have to have compassion and empathy, and you just want to walk away and you can't. You're in it with them. And then there's the phone calls. Sometimes they're very annoying. They're getting mad at you for you don't even remember them. Or for example, they're calling at 11 o'clock at night. Or my favorite, oh, I love getting calls so early in the morning because people forgot in Calgary we're 2 hours behind Toronto. That happens a lot. Lastly, and probably most importantly, realtors can suffer from burnout. Now, CREB actually has an insurance plan that you can talk to someone if you're getting burnt out, but it takes a toll on the family. And it's a business where it's like getting onto the Ferris wheel and you don't quite know how to get off. So sometimes because it is a business, but it's a hobby, but it's a passion, you get so involved and you don't know how to unplug, you don't know how to disconnect. And then sometimes the market is so fast moving that we don't even take time for ourselves. Between February and May, sometimes I'll subconsciously realize, oh my gosh, I haven't had a day off or a day away from my phone, and I know I'm going to be at risk for burnout. And that's when I turn off the phone, I drive out to the mountains, I don't take my calls, because everybody has that risk, but probably higher so in real estate. So you gotta be aware of burnout. So there's a lot of cons, but in the end, they're all ones that you can manage. And again, it goes with the flow. You just gotta go with the flow on that. Question number 5. What are the rewards of being a realtor? Or another way of looking at it is, what are the rewards of being in the real estate business? Well, there's many. As I said, number 1 for me has always been the people. A lot of my clients have become my friends. I keep in touch with them over the years. I get to watch their families grow up, and now I'm getting to sell their kids' property so that they're getting into the real estate market. It's been very rewarding in that aspect. From a personal perspective, it's been very rewarding as a mother, as a wife. My family has had some flexibility that we wouldn't have otherwise. So I've had the opportunity to attend pretty much every single dance competition, figure skating competition, baseball games, school trip. If my kids are sick, I can juggle it and make sure that I'm home for them or find care for them. It's been a very flexible career that way. And although there has been some sacrifices, I think my family would agree. They've learned a lot from my real estate business, been on this real estate journey, and have even been employed by me in various capacities over the years. Whether it's handing out cookies at an open house that I can remember my 8-year-old insisted on baking to hand out at the open house, to delivering feature sheets when I'm at the open house and realize I forgot them, to being behind the camera of this YouTube channel, or maybe behind my handle on Instagram. My family has been with me every step of the way, and there's not a lot of businesses where I could say that much would happen. So it's been a family affair. Now, my husband would probably argue one of the cons, but for me it's a reward, is I actually get to always see the latest, greatest things in properties, in real estate, in all the little gizmos and stuff that go into a house. And I'll come home and say, oh my gosh, honey, guess what I saw today in a house? And then he does the eye roll and thinks, how much is this going to cost me, and what renovation do I have coming up next? To me, that's a reward of real estate. I always get to be on the edge of the latest, greatest in home, residential, property, all the greatest in innovation in homes. And for him, though, he'd probably say, yeah, real estate also costs us money because we're constantly changing our house. Ironically, though, in spite of that, I am still living in the same piece of property that we bought when we moved to Calgary. And through all the years and all the houses I've seen, as tempting as it has been, we're still living in the same property since 2004. Another reward, which is an obvious reward, is we get paid for what we do. Now, in real estate, you can decide how big you want your business to become. Do you want to be a one-person operation? Do you want to be in partnership with somebody else? Or do you want to build a team? Do you want to work full-time? Do you want to work part-time? Do you want to make a ton of money? Do you want to make a little money? Do you want to work half-time? I know realtors that are actually snowbirds and they only work for 6 months of the year and they're gone for the winter. I call them the fair weather realtors. And then there's some realtors that are also doing another occupation, whether it's a mortgage broker or something related to that. And then there's, of course, a lot of parents that are being real estate agents as well, and they're juggling two very important jobs. And then there's other people that maybe have a job working on a contract position, consulting, or I've seen people work at AHS, and then they're also doing real estate on the side. So there's a lot of flexibility with a real estate career. I do think it's better to jump in with 2 feet and decide what you want to do with it, and it can grow with you. And I've seen people even start as they get into their later years and they want to retire and they still have their license and they only deal with referrals. So they might maybe do 5 to 10 transactions a year and they're happy with that. In fact, I know one realtor who brags that he probably makes more than any other 70-year-old person would normally make because he kept his real estate license active and still does the odd transaction. So there's a lot of financial reward as well as personal reward in a real estate career. Now, you may not be interested in being a realtor after this video, but maybe you're still interested in the real estate business. It is a very large sector of our economy, and there's a lot of different occupations that are related to real estate that people often don't know about. And these are actually very important positions. So I'm talking about a mortgage broker, an inspector. The inspectors have to be licensed and it's a very important role in the real estate transaction. So there's the inspectors and then there's appraisers. Now appraisers are also self-employed and it's usually the banks that pay them and they have a little bit more steady stream of income. And they go through and for the financing condition, they often appraise properties and people forget about them. Very important role in the real estate transaction. And then now there's all these other little trades that have come up in the real estate business that are specific to the real estate transaction. So we have specific photographers, people who measure, that's all they do. They do the floor plans and measuring. We have cleaners that specialize. Some specialize just in new construction cleaning and some for your move out clean. And then there's a new crop of companies that have come up and they specialize in preparing your home for market. So you would hire them, you tell them your budget, they'll clean, they'll pack, they'll do clutter, they'll do all kinds of things to get your home ready for the market that normally takes a whole family and maybe some relatives and a whole bunch of boxes, and they come and do it and do all your repairs and maintenance as well. Then there's the handyman. That's another important role in the real estate transaction. And some people that don't want to maybe go into doing full-on renos and contracting work, they might just want to become a handyman. Another real estate niche that has come along from the technology age is digital marketing. You can hire someone for marketing. There's always been someone for marketing, but now you can actually hire someone that does all your social media platforms, and they do virtual tours, all that kind of great stuff that involves technology. And then lastly, and maybe most importantly, is the stager. They're the last person that comes through before the photographer, and they make sure they either bring in the latest, greatest furniture, or they'll tweak what you already have to make it showcased really well for the photographer so it emphasizes the great space that we're going to sell for you. So lots of opportunity in real estate. You don't have to just be a realtor, although being the realtor is certainly at the hub of it all. I love being a realtor, and thank you very much for watching this video. I put out a video each week, and I'm very passionate about real estate. Please hit the subscribe and like button, comment, share. I always look forward to your input for future episodes. Have a great week.